Good morning and welcome back to the Glimmer Witch. So today I have Carly. Carly is a family friend and she's coming back after 4 weeks with all nails intact, not much lifting. So I'm going to do an infill on these. She's going to keep these. She does like the colours. So I'm using my fine safety bit to remove that top coat, to thin out that bulk so we can rebalance them, and to reshape those edges. So this is on, this is not on full speed. This is probably about 15. My e-file goes up to 30. It is quite, it's not earlier in the morning, but I've got the day off today because we're going to Milton Keynes shopping with my son. So no clients, I just thought I'd get this uploaded and done before I went. So just taking that length down somewhat. I got this fine safety bit from CJP. I do like it because it's a safety bit, you can't cut anyone. So I'm just using it to remove any lifting, blend that old acrylic in, and we are just going to infill. So the colours we used on these previously was Perfect Peach and Champagne Gold Glitter from Tracy Lou. So literally when you're infilling, your key part of this is A, get that top coat off, B, make sure you get that old acrylic flush and that you have etched that growth area, because that is where you will struggle. It's a little bit harder to get to that area when you're infilling because you've got the other acrylic there as well. So I tend to do my prep with my e-file as always, and then I hand file it. I'm just using the edge of that e-file bit to cut that length down. So as I said to you before, Perfect Peach is a little bit trickier to work with. However, I did a set last night with Cherry Blossom Blush, which I've never really used before and really struggled. But that's me, it's not the product. It's a beautiful colour. I pushed myself and did a sculpted set on a client, which I don't normally do unless they're very short and they're nail biters. So it wasn't the best, but you know, this is how we learn. So back to this set, just taking down that top coat. You need to get that top coat off. You do not want to be trapping old top coat under that acrylic really. So I just use the e-file to thin out that blend area. We need to get that nice and flush. We need to check that there's no lift in there. If there is, we need to remove it. At 4 weeks, she had relatively small amounts. So obviously my prep work is working. You know, the majority, that doesn't mean that I don't have 1 or 2 clients that don't tend to go 4 weeks. I do, absolutely. But you've got to go by the majority. You know, are the majority of your clients coming back with their nails on at 3 weeks? That's what you need to aim for. It should be 2. So set yourself little goals. That's what I've done. So yeah, not a very high speed. We're not taking down masses, we're just rebalancing that so the bulk isn't over that stress area. We just need to put that apex back into that back third. So just thinning that acrylic out there. It's unusual for me to have a Saturday off. I'm making it a more regular thing next year. I'm going to be having 1 Saturday and 3 off, just so that I can have that balance between work and family life. And of course my Christmas rush starts on Monday, so I will have 2 weeks of 6 days, 11-hour days, pretty much, most of it. So got to get those pennies in for Christmas. So once we have prepped all of those nails, we are then going to go in. I did use my cuticle bit. I also sanitised her hands and my hands as well before I started. That is quite important. And I'm now using a lint-free pad with CJP's Prep Spray Plus. And I'm going to be using their new formula dehydrator today. Note on lint-free pads. I keep mine in a CJP box. I brought some from CJP. They are very, very good. But I was given a tip on using waxing papers and cutting them up. And you know what? They work brilliantly. So it's a bit cheaper. So that's what I use. So coming in, we have dehydrated all 5 nails. I am then coming in and dehydrating as I go. So a little spot on there. Wait for that dehydrator to dry. You need to wait for it to go chalky. It's not quite ready. So I get rid of my little bead. There we go. It's gone. So I've attempted this angle again. Let me know, guys, if you prefer it. It's whatever makes it easier for you to see what I'm doing. So that bead goes on that cuticle and we just tap it in and then we pull the product down. It's a very small bead. It's a very thin layer. And in actual fact, Carly is probably going to be having something different next time. So the odds are we will do her a new set. She is at overlays pretty much at this point. So we'll probably do that in January. And I'll just remove her acrylic. We'll see how she holds up with this time. You know, if she manages to keep the overlays on, we'll switch to overlays. I much prefer to do that. I know my clients like to have their natural nail. It's sort of an achievement for them. So if I can promote natural nail growth and they can have an overlay, I will do that. So again, just waiting for that dehydrator to dry and then popping that little clear bead on there and just tap, 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 swipe, tap, 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 swipe, and then pull the acrylic down. Not the best angle on this little finger though. I haven't figured out a way of getting it turned around more so that it's not in front of my face, because if I bring it out anymore I just end up knocking into it. So still playing with those angles. So I'm not particularly awake this morning yet. I had a late night. So still on my first cup of coffee. So coming in with that perfect peach to infill the plain nude nails. So get it on at the cuticle as always. Tap, tap, tap. Swipe. Out to the side. Tap, tap, tap. Swipe. You can see that I've got a little bit of acrylic on the skin there. So I just come in and tidy that up. There we go, and just use the side of my brush to neaten up that edge. Now on some of these I cap with clear and some I don't. There's no reason. It's just if I've put enough colour on and I feel that I'm not going to have to file it too much, then I don't. If I'm concerned that I'm going to take that colour away, then I do. You know, it's a judgment call. So in this case, we capped in clear, so I'm capping as I go. So again, Perfect Peach by CJP. Beautiful nude colour. I'm due to get another pot because I need a new one soon. So on this finger, we are going in with that champagne gold glitter. Tiny bead of crystal glass. Dip that straight into the glitter pot and we're just infilling that growth area. So we're just going to do the growth bit. We're going to pull it down a little bit. Once the glitter is on there and I am happy, so there I just picked up some glitter with my wet brush. Make sure it's nice and tidy. We just tickle it around until we get it covered, until we get where we want. And then I will leave that glitter to dry before I then go back and cap it. So on this one, we are infilling with Perfect Peach. I will then refresh that gold glitter. So again, tap, tap around the side. Can you see how my brush changes to a side angle as I hit that side, so that you've got it flat and you've got the point of your brush. Use the point of your brush to tap it in at that side and tuck it in. I'm not an expert at these things, guys. I'm not, far from it. I have recorded my sculpted set, so you will see that I am far from perfect. I'm just trying to pass on the things that might help you do it better. And I learn something new from every set I do, and moving forward I take it. Do you know what? I've done some good work recently. I've had a little bit of a slump in the last couple of weeks. A lot of that is down to my health. I did a banging red set yesterday, absolutely beautiful, but I didn't record them. Sod's law. So yeah, you know, if it helps in any way, then, you know, go ahead, absolutely fine. If you have tips for me, I am also quite happy to listen to them. So the original tips we used on here were Tracy Lou's tips, but we are now down to natural nail. I am using my size 10 brush. So a quick word on brushes. There are a lot of beautiful brushes out there. I have tried many. I love CJP brushes. I had the Liz Guild Early Doors. I've got the big boy brush. I had a Glitter Planet size 10, a Glitter Planet size 12. Tracy Lou's brush worked for me fine. And the problem you've got is a lot of the top nail techs are qualified enough and experienced enough that they can use a really, really big brush. I love the look of the Queenie brush from CJP, but it's a size 14 or 16 actually. It's huge, and do you know what? I'm not confident enough. I don't need a bigger brush at this point. My size 10 can pick up a big enough bead or a small enough bead to do what I need. And if you are using a brush that is too big to cope with how you work, you just make more work for yourself, because you'll end up putting on a larger bead of product than you need. You've then got to file it into shape. So for me, I've been using this size 10 Tracy Lou brush since she launched them. I think it was July. I am much more confident with it now, and because I can pick up those smaller beads, I can have slightly more control over where the acrylic goes. You know, we come into this, and I've done it, we come in and we see these amazing nail techs, Liz Guild, Tracy Lou, Kylie Berry, pick up these big beads of acrylic and sculpt in one go and cap in one go, and we strive to do the same thing. And I've learnt it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Now, the only time that you need to be careful of how you're doing beads is when you do certain nail bed colours, if you're doing extended nail beds. But most of the time, it doesn't matter if it takes you 7 little beads or 2 big ones. It really doesn't. And usually, if you get adept at doing one, it leads to the other. So for me, I'm finding more and more that I'm now picking up beads that I can cap in one go, or I can build a nail bed in one go. You know, stick to a smaller brush. I'm not saying go tiny. I haven't used a size 8 since I had the Love By brush last year. But size 10 Tracy Lou brush, perfect size for me. It's roughly equivalent to the Liz Guild, I'd say, or the CJP or the Glitter Planet size 10. It's perfectly big enough. You know, you've seen me pick up tiny beads, you've seen me pick up big beads. It is all to do with that brush, how you handle your brush as well. One of the big mistakes I made when I first started was I was holding my brush too far up the handle. So I've learned to bring my hand down so it's lower down. Yes, it makes it more difficult if you've got nails on, but it is perfectly achievable, and I have a lot more control now than I did. So bear that in mind when you're looking for a brush. You know, these big brushes, go ahead and buy them. They're good to practice with. They're good to do capping in one go on a really long nail. But think about what you need for the work that you are doing. Predominantly, my clients don't have long enough nails that I need to have a size 14 brush. My big boy has sat there for the last 6 months and hasn't been used. Haven't needed it. So that's my advice on brushes. You know, don't be so keen to follow everybody else. You know, find the size that works for you, because we're all different. We all work differently. So just on to my finish filing. I am hand filing these today. So 100, 180 grit file. I tend to use the 180 grit side around the cuticles, but very often use the 100 grit side to do the shaping. I'm going underneath the nail because she has her natural nails under here. I'm making sure she hasn't got any natural nail that's sort of pulling away or flaking, that sort of thing. I would imagine when she comes back in January, we'll probably take these off and give her a brand new set. We shall see. So I'm using my thumb to feel that nail. Is there any lumps and dips and bumps? I'm then using my buffer, which is from CJP, to smooth out that nail. Make sure there's no marks in it. And the other thing you want as well, if you're doing acrylics, you want your acrylic, you don't want it to be super smooth because you need something for that top coat to stick to. I'm obviously chatting, which is why I'm holding a finger. I do that a lot. Don't know why. Is it a comfort thing? Anyway, yeah, you don't want it too smooth because you need that gel polish to have something to adhere to. But at the same time, you don't want it to have score marks in it from your filing or anything like that. So as you can see, I am using that Tracy Lou 100, 180 grit file. I bloody love these files. Absolutely love them. They are the best I have used, and I have used a fair few. I've used Amazon ones, I've used the Edge ones, I've used Salon Services, NSI, CJP, Glitter Planet, and Tracy Lou's are the best I've ever found. They are very, very sturdy. Very, very nice. So yeah, it was quite nice to do a nude set. I do like a classy nude. 'Tis me all over. So around that cuticle, just switch to that 180 side. If you keep your work neat at this point, then you won't need to do masses of filing. And then just over the body of the nail, we've got a nice curve on that nail. We've got the apex where we need it. We don't need a massive one. They're not massively long, but we do have that strength over that stress area. I need to add that Carly is pregnant as well. You know, very often pregnancy can cause issues with lifting. We have not found that to be the case with Carly. We seem to have found the ideal length for her. We seem to have found her ideal shape, and her nails stay very well. So I'm pleased with that. Sorry, went out of shot a little bit there. So that is my tip for brushes today. You know, get used to one. Use one. I have two size 10 Tracy Lou brushes purely because I bought one and then the following month she had her birthday and she had 30% off all her brushes, so I bought a second. I love it that much. So I cycle between the two. Usually at the end of the day I will use a bit of blue tack, blue tack that brush so its tip is in a pot of clean monomer, and I give it a good clean before I put it away again. I always put my brush back into a point. That is my preference. You don't need to. If you tend to work with a flatter brush, then leave it flatter. You know, that's the beauty of your brush. It's not a case of you can just use anything. You tailor that brush to work for you. I like a point on my brush, so therefore I always brush it back into one. When I'm working, you will see me swipe the brush. It goes very flat, but I like it to go back to a point. It's just me. Aren't we all so weird? What are your weird things? What are the things you do when you're doing nails that you think are a bit strange? So that's mine. The other one is I tap my file on the desk in between, you know, just the end of it. I think it's purely, I do it to knock the dust off, but I don't even notice I'm doing it now. And my clients always have a good giggle about the fact that I just get my file and sort of tap it. I'll have to leave it in one day so you can see. It's such a bizarre thing to do. I don't know why I do it.
How the hell he survived all the shit he's had, to be honest, because he had meningitis.
So anyway, once I have filed all of those nails, I will then use my buffer. If you feel that there's anything that still needs filing, go back. Do not finish until you're happy with those finished nails.
Yeah, and he decorated all his bungalow up.
As you can see, I've got a little dip. Can you see? There's a little dimple there. So I need to get rid of that.
I want to get my fucking Christmas tree down.
I have left this video in real time, by the way.
Ashley says he's doing it next week.
I haven't cut it out, which is why it's 24 minutes long.
Up until last day of term, like it used to be when Jason and Beck were little.
Well, George doesn't touch my tree. I tend to do it when he's normal.
I think it took me just under 2 hours to do these. I did have a break halfway through.
Well, if I don't get it done...
My headache has gone. However, I now have a lovely phlegmy cough and a blocked nose, but I feel better. So it's obviously the cold is coming out.
Oh no, I'll leave mine till after the New Year.
Oh no, fuck that shit for
a little bit husky voice this morning.
And Matt just looked at me and
so you can see on that thumb, I've got some work to do reshaping that thumb. So once I have filed all of these nails, they will all be buffed. I will clean all the dust off. I then wipe over all 5 nails with a lint-free pad or a cotton pad. With acetone, literally using the acetone melts that top layer, gives it some adhesion and just smooths everything out. It also cleans it very well, which is what you want. I then use tack-free top gloss, from CJP,
and he goes, don't care about
into my LED lamp for 60 seconds. You can cure in 30. I just do 60 seconds because that's pretty much how long it takes me to finish the other hand and top coat that as well. Once it's come out the lamp, I give it a few seconds to cool down. I then apply cuticle oil. I make my own cuticle oils. I use a base of grapeseed oil, a couple of drops of lavender, a couple of drops of tea tree because they're both very good for healing. So if you do nick your client or they've got any sore areas, that can help. And they also have scented oils in. So I have 5. So cherry, strawberry, apple, mango and coconut. My clients love them. I am qualified to blend around 30 oils, I need to point out, and I do not sell these oils now. I was doing pens for a while, so I tend to have a few pens and sometimes little bottles because they're very, very cheap. So for Christmas, my clients will be getting a little bag with a little bottle of cuticle oil in and a tea light and a little chocolate or a sweet. So there's me wiping over with the acetone just to clean all that dust off.
And then they'll jump out on us.
And then onto top coat. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate all of my new subscribers. I'm amazed. I love this. I love the fact that everybody is enjoying it. Please do keep watching. I will be back very soon. My next video up is my first full sculpted set on a client. So you're going to see that when we try new things, we all start off again exactly the same way. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll be back very soon. Bye-bye.
Midlife crisis. Then changed it to another exhaust because it gave me a headache because it made so much noise in the car.
It was too loud.
What the fuck?
I'm not joking. He then got another exhaust because that one didn't function right. I think we've got 4 exhausts out there.
So why don't you stick them on Facebook and sell them?
Oh yeah, well, you know.